You want to add, you want to be pastry. All they want. All the lake
Okay. My understanding, we are now live, so at this time, I'd like to call the regular meeting to order. And if you please rise and join us in salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Got that chair again that keeps going down. Got Karen's chair.
Okay. Couple announcements. We have 4 town employees who'll be celebrating birthdays during the month of June. Starting with Tuesday the 8th, our town clerk will be celebrating a birthday. Deputy Town Clerk Renee McConnell on the 14th. Councilman Dave Condon on the 16th. Travis Thomas on the 27th. And reminder, Father's Day on the 20th as well. Final thing, board members, during the months of June, July, and August, just a reminder that we go to a summer town board meeting schedule with 1 in-person meeting per month. It's usually the last meeting of the month. First meeting of the month is for the payment of bills only. If there is a situation where some type of action needs to be considered by the board, this will be made public. So with that said, I'm making it public now that the part of the AUD that Finance Department, Barb and Rich have to provide the state. There's a missing component to that, and that would be the town board action. We, at our last meeting, our auditor presented an audit report, and we as a board have to accept it by resolution. Our courts, we have to do the same thing, but for all intents and purposes, right now, I want to focus on the town audit, and so at that 14th, we'll have at least hopefully just that one resolution. Okay? And in the past, we've had, well, we did it last year, it was more COVID related, but Zoom, is everyone comfortable with the Zoom on those off Mondays? Yeah.
Yes.
First meeting. Any objection to 8:30? Okay, and again, we need 3. I know even my own calendar, I would probably be missing 1 meeting during that summer period as well, so. Okay.
Jack, there's a good chance I'm not going to be available.
Okay.
8:30 the time frame.
Councilman Kohovic, we appreciate it, we know that, and certainly make sure when whoever's opening, whether it's myself or Deputy Town Supervisor Dave Condon, mentioning that, necessarily absent, job constraints, and leave it at that, so thank you. Unlike, I'll just say, a couple members of the Board of Supervisors failed to, even it was a no call, no show, so instead of necessarily absent, they just got absent. So, okay, payment of bills. Nope, excuse me, let me back up. Approval of meeting minutes. 2 meeting minutes for you, 2 board meetings for you to consider. The May 10th regular town board meeting, and then the special meeting that was held on May 17th.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, moving to manifest number 10, introduced by our town clerk.
Manifest 10 for 2021 in the amount of $141,304.10 has been reviewed by the Victor Town Board with the following accounts charged: general townwide, general outside village, highway townwide, sanitary conveyance project, the lighting districts of Fishers, Brookwood Meadows, High Point, Cobblestone, Coil Ridge, Rolling Meadows, Stone Lake, and Legacy at the Fairways, S&S Consolidated Sewer Fund, and Trust and Agency.
Thank you, Karen. There was a modified version at your place setting. Thank you, Rich, for that. We'll start off with payment number 1 to American Rock Salt. Payment number 2 for the court's rent. Number 3, June rent for Parks and Recreation. Next is grassland equipment, zero-turn mower. Payment to Harris Beach, April attorney fees. Bless you. Payment to Labella Associates for April engineering fees. Payment to Mengel Metzger Bar for the audit, annual audits. Payment to NOCO Energy, and then to Relcom. Total of the above-mentioned expenditures is $93,079.98. Total town expenditures minus the previous mentioned expenditures equals $48,314.12. Board members, any questions on this evening's abstract? Hearing none, entertain a motion to approve them.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor? Aye. Okay, moving to privilege of the floor this evening from Labella Associates, Mr. Ed Flynn.
Thank you. And I am here tonight to talk about a potential grant application that the town of Victor wants to apply for. I've been working with Kathy Rayburn. We are working through the Community Development Block Grant CARES Act money. This is money that came through as part of the Relief Act that Congress passed about a month ago. And it provides funding for small business assistance. As part of this, we did a survey of 45 businesses that returned surveys to us. 85% of them said they needed help because they've had adverse impacts as a result of the coronavirus impact, of the coronavirus pandemic. Some of them had to reduce revenue, some of them had to reduce employment. And so we're looking to provide up to $35,000 per business, hoping to help between 10 and 15 businesses, applying for $500,000. We had to do a two-step process. We had a preliminary application that we sent to the state for the application. They looked at it, they approved it, and they invited us to submit a full application. And usually when you get the full application invite, it's a good opportunity to say that you're probably going to get funded for the project. So it does look good for the town of Victor. As part of the process, you need to have a public hearing initially. You need to schedule a public hearing, hold the public hearing in a certain time frame. And I think that's one of the main reasons Kathy wanted me to present this tonight before the board did that, and if you had any questions about the program. We've also met with the financial folks over there regarding the program and all the steps they would need to take if the funding was awarded. And they understand the process and the steps that need to be taken as well. And they had some really good questions too. And they also suggested we come here tonight to talk about the program as well. So it is a first come, first serve program. It was opened, I would say, 2 months ago. And then once you get the funding, you need to spend it in 12 months because they want to see an impact from the funding on the economy. So I think I've explained everything about it. The only other thing is the primary beneficiaries of the program need to be low to moderate income individuals. And so it could be somebody who owns a business who's low to moderate income, or it could be a business that employs primarily low to moderate income folks. So that could be restaurants, it could be hotels. And this is going to be townwide too. So it's not just in a specific area, it's townwide. There would probably need to be a committee set up to accept applications, review applications, rank the applications, and award the funding to individual businesses.
Ed, what is the time window for this money for individuals to apply and for the town to have this money? Is it 2 years or is it?
It's 12 months. You got to get rid of the money in 12 months, right? It's because it's pandemic money. They want to see the impact, immediately on the community, and so they want to get rid of the money by then. So there's $60 million available statewide, and $30 million available of that $30 million for non-entitlement communities like Victor. And we've looked to try to apply for community development block grant funding in the past for Victor, and unfortunately, or fortunately, the income is too high in the community for most programs. But this program directly benefits low to moderate income folks because they get the money, either as being an employee or as a business owner. So we have finally found an opportunity to apply community development block grant money for the town of Victor.
So those folks haven't applied yet. We've kind of earmark some people or talk to some people, or have they already applied?
Well, we did a survey. It was on a online survey, and Kathy sent out the notice to folks, and we got 45 responses, which is
Okay.
incredible.
Good.
And that's why we said we can help 10 to 15 people, because we know some of those people will not apply, some
Yep.
may not qualify because of income. So yeah, those are the folks that filled out the survey, but once you get the program, there's going to be an application process. There'll be probably some ranking criteria for all of the businesses, and then there'll probably be a committee to decide who gets the funding. You might be able to get rid of it in one round, but there might be an additional round if you don't get rid of the $500,000
And
initially.
that committee would be headed up by Kathy, I assume, Jack?
Yes.
And then,
And you know what, and I should apologize, I should have said, so Kathy unfortunately sent me a text during the workshop that unfortunately her mother-in-law is not feeling well, so she is with her mother-in-law until her husband gets there and they decide what to do, so she apologized for missing this, but yes, Kathy would be, again, taking the lead, would love to have a board member on there with her as well to help review.
I'd be interested in participating in that.
Very good. Signed up?
Time comes.
I saw-
Yes, and one
I
of
saw
the questions I
4 hands go up.
have is, yeah, you said about 45 people participated in the survey,
Yeah.
businesses, whatever. But you threw out 10 to 15 because you don't think the others will qualify? Or,
No, generally, when you do a survey for any of these programs, you want to get 2.5 to 3 times the number of people you're looking to provide the money for.
Right.
So you want over demand initially, but in reality, they fill out the survey, they don't need to give us income information at the survey time.
right.
They may change their mind when the program comes out. There's other funding coming out from the pandemic as well, so they may take advantage of that funding. So we just want over demand so we can spend the money, get it spent in 12 months.
Okay, makes sense.
Yep.
that's great.
And yeah, they've also told us if you spend it quickly, you can potentially apply for more money if
Great.
there's some left over.
They have told us that if there is money left over, and we've done this in the past on smaller amounts, that if you do everything that you're supposed to and yours is gone, and we've done it for loan funds before and been somewhat successful, not smaller amounts of money than this, but once it's approved and once we know we have it, you can basically go on a campaign and make people, it's going to be up to the the LDC and Kathy especially to make people aware of it, above and beyond what your survey went to.
Right.
And reach out. And the qualifications are kind of strict. They're and then the committee's going to have to, it's potentially you're going to have to choose from, you're going to have more people than you can give it to. You're going to, and you're probably going to make some people mad, but they do, if I'm right, you can correct me, is they give you the criteria that you have to match potentially to do it, and
They can give you a framework, but we've done so many grant programs like this that we can give you some ideas too.
Yeah.
So,
so we would hope we would be able to go out and seek those people out.
Yeah.
It's to our benefit as much as the business owners to get applications.
Yeah, well, with as many businesses that, are saying that they're struggling, there's got to be opportunity there, so.
yeah. Yeah, it's a very good response. So we've done this in other communities and haven't gotten that much response. So there's a need in Victor.
Great, thank you. Any other questions for Ed? Ed, thank
Okay.
you.
So we'll provide the resolution. That's probably the next step for the
Okay,
town.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next, public comments and concerns. Opportunity for members of the public. Offer any comments? Suzie, would you happen to have anyone with you? No comments, okay. Moving to reports of town officials, so Kathy did send me a picture of her notes, so she was going to, bear with me. So the town responded to calls for projects in 2020 through the GTC, Genesee Transportation Council, and the United Planning Work Program, UPWP. The goal is to build on the access management plan completed in May of 2019. We received notification of project approval in March of this year. The completed project will go deeper than the access management plan by providing concept-level designs for future infrastructure improvement projects. This will assist in town prioritizing of projects and securing funding. Total project cost is $85,000. Grant funding received, $81,000. We have a cash match of $4,000 paid over year 2021 and 2022. The RFP went out in May, and the estimated completion of the plan is September of 2022. We will organize a committee for consultant selection and project oversight. So that's kind of the update from Kathy. In addition, let's see, finance report from Mr. Rich O'Donnell. Thank you. And IT report. Any questions on those reports? Board members, I left you a stack of paper, considerable amount. There's an article on volunteering projects, state legislation to pass EMS Protection Act, and then I provided you with the recent audits from the Farmington Victor Ambulance. We will be probably at some point, either our second meeting in June or in July, we'll have Mr. Jim Hood here before us. I know they're also going to schedule some time with Farmington as well. And right now, the attorneys from both Victor Farmington and the Ambulance Corps are reviewing some contracts. So that's hence why I want to get some of that information to you in advance. I do have a number of issues that I need to go over real quick here. Number of, and again, I don't know how far back it was, but we had talked here at the board level about smoking ordinances in our town parks. And again, I couldn't tell you if it was a year ago or 3 years ago. But we felt it was unforced, very difficult to enforce, and we didn't want to regulate. Well, my recommendation now that the marijuana law changes that, because it's my understanding with the new state marijuana law that where cigarette smoking is allowed, marijuana smoking is allowed. So I will follow up with our attorney on if that is certainly the case, and then from there, we will probably look to add some type of law to protect at least our parks if this, that type of smoking is allowed in public, at least the very least, if we could prevent it. And again, have laws that would prevent it on the books. I think it makes sense to do that.
You don't think it's a good idea that they're smoking while they're watching a little box lacrosse at Dry Road? Yeah, exactly. Where the kids are on the playground.
They're pushing a little 3-year-old on the.
In that same vein, Jack, at some point, do we need to take up looking at dispensaries and where they should be located from, within the town or
Yeah.
the town borders or?
So great point, Councilman. I know the village had a presentation recently on a dispensary, or a couple of individuals interested in that. They would be certainly interested in doing the same here if that's something the board would like to. In the meantime, I'm gathering information for you. I know I have some colleagues at the county level that are also struggling with this, trying to wrap their arms around it. So we're looking to do maybe some kind of white paper with a lot of the regs, the do's and don'ts, things of that nature. I know Harris Beach, our attorney, their office has put together some bullet points with analyzing the law, and so I anticipate I'll have at least some, if not electronically, maybe some hard copies in your mailboxes, but I will let you know when that happens. But if there is interest, I know there is, we could duplicate what the village did and have a presentation here. Again, but this is by a couple individuals that actually reside in this town that are interested in a dispensary. Between the town clerk and myself, we wanted to update you. You'll recall some time ago, back in February actually there was unsafe structure, 7395 Modoc Road. And I know that, just to let you know that that structure is no longer, has been removed. Might not have been the the way it started. Town board member Drew Cusimano called me that day. He was Lieutenant Cusimano to say that our structure that was supposed to be bulldozed over was on fire, that he was burning piece by piece. But at the end of the day, fire was put down, and he ended up knocking it down. So that safe structure, that's gone away. At the Fishers Fire District meeting last week, I told them that they are in the process of recognizing 100 years of history, and I would like our town board to do something to commemorate this accomplishment at some future meeting as well. And as well as there's a lot, there's some action in for your consideration tonight regarding pickleball. There's a couple of individuals that have been really driving this, Mr. Keith Shields and Jerry Collier. So at some point, I'll probably end up recognizing them down the road. Finger Lakes Municipal Health Insurance, our consortium that the town is a member of, last week at our Tuesday meeting, and it was actually Kim Kinsella here in Peg as well from our Wellness Committee. They introduced the Community Health Magazine, which a couple of you may see around your house if you have school teachers. So we may try to also become involved and try to focus on our members as well. New, as you can see, new town face mask policy that, again, for vaccinated, unvaccinated individuals, hopefully they'll continue to be honest. And let's see, I just want to cite real quick, and I did forward it, or I sent this around to the members as well, but just, again, Lieutenant Cusimano really gave us a firsthand perspective of the collaboration between the Fishers Fire District and Farmington Victor Ambulance in a recent case with a elderly resident up at Cobblestone. So great to see and hear those kind of things. And again, Memorial Day Parade, there is going to be a Memorial Day Parade. It'll be the only group marching. There'll be like 4 members of the American Legion, 2 younger members carrying a banner, 2 others marching. The rest will be in vehicles. They'll start from Victor Central School at 10 a.m. They'll proceed down here. They'll follow the same route that the school district did. The individuals marching will stop here in front of Town Hall, salute while the members go by in their cars. They'll go circle back up to the school, and then they'll come down for a ceremony here in this building about 10:45 a.m. And so I'm offering that invitation to the board members if you'd like to attend. And the only reason I need to know in advance is because the commander, Dan Williams, would like to know. So he properly introduces the individuals that do participate. So pretty lengthy report. That's all I have. You have any questions for myself?
Yeah, quick follow-up to the unsafe structure.
Yes, sir.
As part of that questioning about what was going on with that, I believe there was some discussion around whether or not it was a commercial entity in a residential district, or didn't we talk about that? Like that he was
The
running a
stuff he had out
business
back,
and
the stuff
Yeah,
yeah,
the stuff out back. And I think, great point and memory there. So I think our point was, let's get rid of the structure.
Yeah.
And now we'll go to Plan B. So,
okay.
Well, and I think Steve was supposed to help him move his electric pole line, is what, he was gonna help him.
you missed that meeting, Steve. Don't miss the meeting again. You get signed up for things you don't want.
Everyone is electric line.
Thank you for that reminder. Let me just write that address down. Karen will remind me. Thank you. And before I yield to moving to anything else, it is Barb Cole's last meeting as our Director of Finance. And Barb, I don't know if you certainly, last week we honored Barb here, and her both her sons were here and her husband as well, and a nice send-off, and the employees were very generous, and a nice gift for Barb for her sunroom. And it was nice, nice event. And so, again, you've done remarkable things in this role, earning interest when no one thought you could earn any interest, but moving money around and different banks, and so you've done well. Even Finger Lakes, the Health Consortium, she invested some money for us there as well, enough that I think we can cover the cost of the magazine for year one based on the interest we've accumulated over the last few years. So, Barb, I've enjoyed working with you. It's been a pleasure working with you, and I'll remember, probably two things we'd rather not remember, but back in 2015, a very difficult time in our history with our budget, and I think it was about that night or the next day you said, I'll resign, Jack, and it was more like a heck no response. And then this past last year, through the pandemic, when we were preparing a COVID-19 budget, very difficult making decisions that based on furloughs and layoffs. So, but it's been great working with you. I really enjoyed it, and besides an employee, valued friend. So thank you. Well, so again, I don't know if you want to say anything or not.
But I agree.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would echo everything you said, Jack. And, Rich has got big shoes to fill because there's been a lot of trust that Barb instilled in this board in righting the ship. And we'll continue to make sure that you live up to that standard that Barb set for us. So, and I'm sure you will. So, I'm sure you will.
Okay.
Congrats, Barb. All the
Yep.
best.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Bill.
Okay. Any board member have any committee they'd like to report on?
I'm sorry.
Yes.
No, go ahead.
I just had maybe more so of a comment relating to Parks and Rec. More of an airing of grievances maybe, but with the recent change to the mask usage and the usage now with the young children, I know we have no control over that, but I just have a personal experience with it. My daughter's 3 years old. We're doing the town-sponsored rec programming for soccer and lacrosse, and she went to her first session on Saturday, and masks are required outdoors. She literally just turned 3 years old, and they're running around outdoors with masks on. And I'm all for public safety, 100%, but holy smokes, it's brutal. I mean, her mask was soaking wet, sucking into her mouth, and it was mandatory. They had to have the mask on. So I just think that we have no control over it, and it's more of just a complaint. But I had a little bit of a firsthand experience with it that, I brought a couple of the folks from my cul-de-sac, and there was actually 3 families that we lived side by side, and we were all almost laughing about it, but they're like, this is ridiculous. So I think that there's a larger picture here with these child care centers and places that now will have to supervise and manage this. I think it's very difficult, first of all, and I have some pretty legitimate concerns about what it's going to, it might be good for their health in the short term, but what does it do in the long term? I don't know. I don't like it, though.
I don't disagree with you, Drew, and I think one of the things that you can do, obviously, the kids aren't vaccinated, right? So that's the issue. That's what the CDC and that's what the state's worrying about. But what the school has done for outdoor activities, it's been where your mask is tolerated. So in other words, there's got to be some common sense out there with the coaches, whoever's working with them. If they need to take a mask break, they take a mask break. They stay 6 feet apart, so, and I've even found that some of my grandchildren in school are getting mask breaks during the day. And some are better than others, some are very paranoid, and it could be the teacher might, even though they're vaccinated, they could be worried that they might still be of high risk. But my grandkids will compete on how many mask breaks that they got during the day. I got 10, I got 5, and I think, especially with this heat, because what's happening now, that humidity is creating a rash around the mouth, and, it's counterproductive. But, and I get it. I feel your pain on that, and it's, we struggled with that with football in the spring. You're asking these guys and we had kids wrestling, and they were supposed to wear a mask. They couldn't shake hands. They had to wear a mask. That's tolerated, and some of the guys would get out there, and as soon as they started wrestling, they'd rip the mask off, I can't tolerate it, I'm not gonna wrestle with it. You're driving somebody's face into the mat and getting all sweaty, and then you couldn't shake hands if the match was over. So a lot of it is, kind of optics, I think, with the state. And, hopefully, it'll continue to come around, and I am concerned about the honor system. I talked to a guy at Lowe's today, because Lowe's, so a lot of their employees are still wearing masks. And I went in, I didn't have a mask on, and then I saw some people had them on, so I thought, well, should I put it on or not? And, so I threw it on, and I asked the guy, I said, what's the policy? And he says, well, the policy is, it's an honor system, you don't have to wear your mask. He said, I'm wearing it, I'm vaccinated, I had COVID, and he says, I didn't have a very bad reaction, but my wife almost died. And, so this older guy's telling me that, he's just being precautious, because I'm sure there's unvaccinated people that are walking around without a mask on. And, it's just what we're gonna see. But I think we're trying to move in the right direction, but, there's no question, it's hard.
So I just thought of something when you were talking about youth. So Gorbel, in our town last week, they hosted a vaccination clinic. The county came out with staff. They inoculated 200 individuals. 180 of them were 18 years and younger.
Awesome.
Outstanding. Yeah, really was. So.
I would say half the people there.
What is it now? What's the age right now? Is 12? Yeah, I thought it was 12, yeah.
We've had people protest. They didn't protest at Gorbel, but they were out at GW Lisk and another business last week with signs, about.
Quick note from the Conservation Board. They have a very interesting project that they've been debating with. It's going to go to Planning Board, but the O'Neill property, okay? So they have a bunch of lots that they've decided they're going to sell off, selling it to 7 different individuals. Yeah. So all 7 were on the Zoom call, and obviously each one has its own, questions about how my property is going to fit into a conservation easement and what is it going to look like, which is different because normally you have a developer come in that's buying this property and it's all kind of lined out and ready to go. And then when they come into Conservation Board says, well, we'd like to see this marker and this and that. But they're even like debating where the lines are going to be and where so very interesting. And I think when it gets to Planning Board, it's going to be even more interesting. So, it's just the first step. But they've divided the property up. They have these lots. And it's going to be interesting to see how that all transpires. But 7 people are interested in buying 7 different lots for various reasons. But they want to know, hey, what's the easement going to be? What am I going to be allowed to do? I want to move my house on this part because it's flat, further up or further in or further back or whatever it might be. So it's very interesting. It's a different kind of dynamic when you're dealing with that kind of a development, but not a developer. So it was just very interesting, all the different competing, well, I want to do this on my property, and I want to do that on my, so something a little different.
I saw the map, and was talking to Kim about that, and it was interesting because, you look at the map and you say, okay, well, here's a 10-acre parcel, here's 5 acres is going to be, set aside or whatever, and she was saying, depending on how the easement is drawn and what it says, they could still pasture it, they could have horses on it. She said primarily the issue is structures, as far as the easement. So somebody could, have pasture, they could work it, they could rent it out, they could have somebody still plant crops on there. So it's, well, you say you got 7 different people that all have a different idea what they want to do with that 7 to 10 acres.
Yeah.
So,
Be very interesting.
yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate you sharing that. Moving to the resolutions. First one is budget transfer, Parks Trust Fund.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Budget transfer repairs to Fisher's Park tennis and pickleball courts.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Oh, I'm sorry. All those in favor? Aye. Number 3 is purchase unleaded gasoline and diesel fuel, Town of Farmington.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Everything okay, Mark? With that one, the emergency? Taken care of? Good to go? Thank you.
Now, and great question, and really goes right into number 4, is really to purchase this new fuel management system. And Mark could agree with this too, that Casey did a lot of legwork for us. This is something that Casey and Mark have talked about previously, but certainly with situations with fuel recently, it really makes sense to escalate this. And this will provide us with, there's an opportunity, even sheriff's deputies can go buy and fuel. If Dave Krenzer's in Hopewell and he's out at the landfill and for some reason he's got a fuel, he can swing by the county highway facility at Farmington as well. So it really works out real well.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Number 5, contract with Cintas for the first aid and safety equipment. All right.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Number 6. Again, 6 through 15, these are recreation. Request for a certificate of liability insurance waiver, and it lists the 3 vendors, and these are, concerts, all 3 of them.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Resolution number 7, agreement with Mr. Bob Stokes.
Would we like to block any of these?
And certainly block them if you'd like.
7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 7 through 11.
7 through, okay. Is there any objection to blocking resolution 7 through 11?
No.
Hearing no objections? Okay, so Councilman Condon is offering those. Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, resolution 7 through 11 have been passed. Number 12, purchase of engineered wood fiber for playground safety.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye. It's probably cheaper than plywood right now.
Yeah, jeez.
I will say on that one, I get to spend a lot more time around playgrounds than I used to. And we travel quite a bit, and we go around and find different playgrounds. And I can tell you that I was amazed to see the differences in these playground surfaces. And when you go to a park and they don't have what would consider to be something that's been well cared for and maintained, it really is noticeable. So I think it's a worthwhile investment for sure.
Thank you. Number 13, agreement with Super Seal Seal Coating. And this is, again, for the parks, Fisher's Park and pickleball.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Number 14, rental of paver and operator, Fisher's Park tennis and pickleball courts.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Is Keith or Jerry going to drive the paver on that?
No.
I think Mr. Troy Page has been doing a lot of that. He's
Nice.
doing real well, and he's, only Troy, he's doing some teachable moments over there too with some of the staff he's working with. So it's working out well. Resolution number 15, unlimited permission for alcoholic beverage permit for our concert series this summer.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Again, moving to public comments or unfinished business to be brought before this board. Hey, Susie, I would, assuming you have no one on? Okay. At this time, I do need a motion for executive session to discuss rule number 3, the proposed lease of real property when publicity might affect the value. Attendees would be the town board and our town attorney, Mr. Kevin Overton.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And we anticipate no business, just adjournment following executive session. We'll stay right here after folks clear out.